her because my mom was sick. So I'd go up there and stay the summer if I wasn't in summer school. And go up there and stay, and I'd pick beans, and I'd pick strawberries, and I'd pick cherries, and I got sick eating cherries, so I had to quit doing that. I ate too many cherries. Then I went and picked apples, and I got sick picking apples, so I stopped doing that. But the bean picking, I started picking beans when I was 8 years old, and I couldn't even pick the bucket up. And I was picking beans. My grandmother used to pick my bucket up, because she asked the man, "Can my granddaughter pick beans?" He said, "Yeah, if she wants to." And I couldn't even pick the bucket up. My grandmother would pick the bucket up. But I'd pick as many as some of those grown-ups could pick, just so I could get money to go to the show. But it taught me how to work, and I really enjoyed it.
Are your parents still living?
No. My father died in 1968 of a massive heart attack, and my mother died in 1992 of a massive heart attack. So.
And they were both in Michigan when they passed?
Yes. But all 7 of us are still alive, so. And then I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, so.
So tell me about meeting your husband and his name, his full name.
I met Walter Doyle Todd. He used to court me on a tractor. He used to come to my brother's house and court me on a tractor. Every time I'd go up to my brother's and spend the summer sometime, he'd come to his house in a tractor, and he'd come and see me every time. And he got a car, and he'd come to Grand Rapids and he'd see me. And finally it got to the point that he eventually asked my father if he could marry me. And my father said, "Yeah, if you're going to be good to her." So we ended up getting married, and that was in 1965. We've been married ever since.
How old were you, and how many years have you been married now?
We've been married 41 years.
And how old were you when you got married?
19.
And when did he start courting you?
About 16. Too many years.
Make him wait. 3 years.
We have 3 kids. I have 2 sons and a daughter, and I have 8 grandchildren. So.
What are your children's names?
I have Walter William Todd Jr. I have Robert Wayne, and I have Yvette Michelle.
And are your daughters married?
No. I only have 1 son that's married. I don't think people believe in marriage anymore, do they?
That's what my mother said.
No one's married.
And you have 8 grandchildren?
I have 8 grandchildren.
And what are their names?
My oldest one's name is Kayla. I gotta take this a little slow now. And then I have one that's named Charles. I have one that's named Marcus, one named James. I have a girl named Mariah. I have one named Jada. I have one named Ashton. Is that all of them? Did I get them all?
Sounded like me. So how old's the oldest and how old's the youngest?
The oldest one's 18, the youngest one is 5 months. That's Jada. Jada's 5 months.
Are they all in Michigan now?
Yep, they're all in Michigan. They live in Grand Rapids. Well, 4 lives in Big Rapids, Michigan. 1 lives in Lansing, Michigan. And 1 lives in, no, that's not right. I must have 9. There's 4 that lives in Grand Rapids. I must have 9. Somebody I missed. I must have 9.
We have that video. It's okay. That's easy. So what kind of work did you do in Grand Rapids?
When I lived in Grand Rapids, I worked in a factory. I worked in a car factory when I first started out, I worked in a laundry. I was a check-in. You'd check in the clothes. Didn't like that. I stayed there about a year. Then from there, I went to a factory, in a car factory, and I did Ford bumpers and Ford's grills, and I sprayed those, and I stayed there for 10 years. From there I went to what they called a bandsaw, and they did cushions for the chairs. I stayed there for probably about 6, 7 years. Then finally got kind of tired of the factory. I went into home care, and that's what I'm doing now.
Well, tell me what married life was like when you first got married.
It was heck. So many times I wanted to go home. A couple times I did go home. Then it got a little better. Then when I started being the boss, then it was better. When I could play boss, it was a lot better. And I've been there ever since, so I guess it was okay. He retired, and then he went back to work. He didn't like staying home. And he's a mechanic for a construction company, so.
Have you been able to go and see where the Lett settlement was and your visits to Ohio, or some of the grave sites? Is there like a spot that you think is really
You know the one I like?
significant for you?
We went last year to, I guess it's called Lett Cemetery, and I had always said I wanted to go see Aquila and Christina Cobbler-Lett. Well, I went to see it last year. And I took, everyone says I was crazy. I took a picture of it, and I took it in and got it put on a T-shirt. And it's a headstone of them, and I put it on a T-shirt. And my sister said, why would you want that around on your T-shirt? A headstone. I said, because, you know, you wear what you want. You put on your T-shirt what you want. I put on my T-shirt what I want, and I wanted that on my T-shirt. And you can read it so plain, you know, when they were born and when they died. And I said, I didn't ask you to put it on yours. I put it on mine. So I put it on mine, and I like it. Because I had always said I wanted to know where they were buried. And I said if I ever found it, I was going to put it on a T-shirt. Because if the picture ever faded out, I would have it on a T-shirt. I don't wear the T-shirt. I just wanted it on a T-shirt. I put it under plastic, and I put it away.
I think you bring up a really important point, because these histories are mostly oral histories, and you know, over the last how many years have people been beginning to document them? It's kind of what we're doing here, right? Cemeteries are really significant and important.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of information. Well, can you talk about why cemeteries are so significant for people who have an oral tradition or oral histories that maybe their histories are not documented?
You know, to me, when I went to that cemetery, because I thought I would never get to it, and I kept saying, you know, if I ever get to it, it would probably be a miracle. Well, the miracle was last year. And I always said I wanted to get to it because I wanted to know where Aquila and Christina was at. And I was like a crazy woman in that cemetery. And they said I was going back and forth. And I don't know how many pictures I took. I took a picture of his grave, and I took a picture of his son and his wife's grave, which was, you know, an aunt and an uncle, but it was still my blood. So it was still important to me. So I took, you know, both of them, and it was somebody else's grave back there that I couldn't read, but it was some Lett, and I don't know who it was, but I still took the picture because it was a Lett. But it was just so exciting, and I mean, my sister said when we drove in that cemetery, she said, and I looked at your face, she said, I never seen such a glow in my life. She said, as to look at your face when someone said, look at the Letts. And she said, when we walked up to that headstone and somebody said, Aquila and Christina Cobbler, she says, and I looked at your face, she said, Ada, it was just like the sun had just glowed right in your face. She said, I never seen something in your face that was so exciting and so much glow. And I mean, I must have showed it because I just kept snapping and snapping. And I mean, I was just so excited because I never thought I would see where they were buried or even see their headstone. So that was another exciting time for me.
What did it mean to you when you were standing before the head ceremony?
Oh,
What were you,
I
what was your feelings
cried.
about?
I cried because it was like everything, how can I say, I felt standing before that grave, if it hadn't been for them, I would not be here today. If it hadn't been for those two people that laid in that grave, I would not be here. So why would I not honor those two people and want them on my shirt? I mean, why can I not give them the respect to put them on my shirt? No matter what nobody says, to not love them enough. Even though I have never laid my eyes on them, why would I not love them enough to put them on my shirt? Even though I can't put my arms around them, I can put them on my shirt and respect them. So that's what I did. Wrap that shirt up and put it away. That's how much I love them, even though I have never laid my eyes on them.
Someone said that the Lett cemetery that would have been part of the Lett settlement was either moved or
Yeah,
somewhere.
they moved it.
Do you know anything about the cemetery?
They had said, I can't remember what they said, why they moved it, but that wasn't the right place it was at. They moved it and it's way out. And I can't remember, Paul Myers had told me once why they did it. And I can't remember what he said now, why they moved it, but that's not the original one. But it was fine with me, I was happy.
Was Paul Myers here today?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know if we talked about it. How are we doing?
Yeah.
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 Okay. It's just like, is there anything that what's a question? I guess one thing I'm wanting to ask you is, what's something you really would like to know about your family that you haven't found yet? Is there something that's really something you've been wanting to search and find or out about?
I would like to know exactly. I would like to know where they lived. I would like to go exactly where they lived. I'd like to know where they lived. I know it was here, but I'd like to go to the place where they lived. I'd like to stand on the ground where they lived and take pictures of where they lived. To know I stood on the ground where they lived. I've stood before their grave. Now I want to stand before their house, even if it's not there. Just picture where it was, you know. That's the sentimental thing with me. You know, some people might not get sentimental like that, but I will. I do. I get real sentimental with stuff like that. And I have some sisters that could care less. I have a brother that could care less about this, you know. But me, I would love to know where they lived. I would love to go see where they lived.
What do you think we can take away from having those kind of experiences? All of us from knowing those details about our ancestors' lives. How is that empowering to know so much about what happened to our ancestors, where they lived, what they experienced, who they were, those people that we never met in life? Why is it so important that we know that for you?
I just want to, I wish I could go back and just be with them for, even if it was for an hour. Because I want to know I have so many questions for them. So many questions. I could question them in 1 hour and probably be happy. If I could just ask 2 questions, I would be happy.
What would they be?
Are you happy with me? Are you happy with all your grandkids? Do you find a lot of, are you happy with what we've done with our life?
What would the other one be?
I wish I was where you're at.
Is spirituality, religion been a big part of your family and life?
Oh yeah, yeah. My mother was very, very